Tom, it's good to see you again.
Lovely to see you all.
Yes, you've been in Singapore many times.
Yeah, we've known each other for quite a few years.
Yes,
haven't we?
I think almost 30 years. Yes. Oops, I shouldn't.
Wow, you didn't even look 30.
So, the first opera you directed in Singapore, what was it? Remind us.
Well, the first opera I directed that came to Singapore was Cosi, tutte.
It was?
Yes. It started as a project in Penang,
Yeah.
moved down to Kuala Lumpur, and then to Singapore. And in each venue, we had a different chorus. And because Mr. Liao's, two of his children were singing in the chorus, I met Mr. Liao. And then Mr. Liao asked me to come and direct Carmen. So that was the first.
Oh, Carmen was the first.
Carmen was the first, and then the Magic Flute,
Okay.
which you were in.
No, yes, yeah. And you had us in the Bubble Seville as well?
Yes.
Yes. That was much later.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the one I remember.
But I've got a picture of you as the serpent,
Yeah.
the monster, a Balinese.
Yes.
golden-
Did you also do the Franz Leha's the Merry Widow? You did that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And,
So.
and the Fledermaus.
What year was that roughly?
Oh. Okay. The first one.
The
Which
barber.
Carmen.
Carmen, that was in 1990.
Wow.
1990. 89 was the Cosi, and 1990 was the Carmen.
I didn't know about the Cosi. Who did that?
Well,
It's a Penang project.
It's a Penang project. Pamela Ong set it up with the Arts Council up there. I think it was called European Chamber Opera, but that was a made-up name for the project. The Malaysian singer was Wei Kiat.
Sounds
Wei
familiar.
Kiat. Well, he was in several of the operas.
Yeah. So, what's the experience of directing the opera during the early days in Singapore and now? Is that a difficult question?
It's a very difficult question.
Your experience.
The cast is now more international.
Yeah.
I've got 10 different nationalities in the cast.
Isn't that fun?
That includes the chorus. Is it fun? Yes and no. I didn't know that Guillermo really only speaks German and Korean. And so,
Okay. How do you? Yeah.
well, we get by, and fortunately the mezzo also speaks German. And I'd forgotten most of my German, but I could have mugged up, but I didn't know till I got here.
Yeah.
But that's one of those
Wow.
things.
So is this? I'm sure this is not the first time you have a situation where your cast members do not speak English.
Yeah, I suppose so. When I worked in France, the majority of the cast speak French, but I speak French, so that's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But you can get by with an awful lot of side language and demonstration and things.
Yeah.
And somehow the music of opera is a universal language. And you communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you plan for the stage direction, are you one of those who plan everything in your head, and then when the actors come, you try to fit them into the vision you have, or the other way around, where you see them rehearse and then you get ideas and stuff?
A combination of both. I have to start out with an overall plan, because you start that with your designer. That fixes the location
Oh yeah.
and all of that. So I start with that plan, and I'm always terrified that I won't get to the end of the opera in time and won't have everything planned. So I have that shape, but I draw always on what the cast give me. And as I get older, very old in my case now, I find that I'm more and more flexible. But everything has to sort of eventually fit into the one plan, or else it'll be chaos.
Yeah. So when you were planning for this opera, you had to sit down and think, okay, what kind of concept, what kind of set do I want, right? So what was it for this Cosi?
This is a funny question, really, because my original plan, I wanted to set it in Malacca with a Peranakan
Okay.
sort of setting, but it didn't work out because of the differences in the cast. And then when I got the chorus, the majority of whom were Europeans this time.
Here? Really?
Yeah.
Not Filipinos?
Well, the men are Filipinos, but the women, the majority are Europeans, French and English.
So out goes the Penang.
Yes, I
Japanese.
went that, but I've set it in sort of colonial times, in somewhere between Penang, Malacca.
Yeah.
At the back of my mind was the Eastern Oriental Hotel in Penang, when I first knew it, which was before it was all tarted up and made to look like Raffles, but it had a slightly much more character about it. And so I've set the opera in a hotel in somewhere on the coast, not being very specific about it.
Okay. Are there surprises in this production that we might?
Well, there's always surprises. The ending, which I won't tell you about, is my conclusion of how I think the opera should resolve itself.
Okay.
And this is the 9th time I've directed the piece,
Okay.
and I'm passionate about it. I think it has so much to say today, as it has done for the last 200 years, about love and youth and the mistakes we all make and growing up.
Well, I think the storyline is quite ridiculous in that how can they be deceived, so easily? But I suppose it's the whole message about the opera is beyond that, right? It's something else. And what would it be as a
Well,
director?
I'm not sure. The question you ask is, how aware are the girls that these are their fiancés? Are they playing just sexual games? Are they enjoying that? I mean, we speculate. You see somebody, perhaps the partner of a friend, you think, oh, I wonder what it'd be like making love to that person.
Okay.
I mean, these are human conditions. I don't think it's all that ridiculous.
Okay. So it's just that it's played out in this
Yes,
opera.
exactly.
Yes,
When Fiordalici looks into Guglielmo's eyes in his disguise, well, surely she would recognise something, but she chooses not to,
Okay.
because the game, are the girls controlling it, or are the men controlling it? Is Alfonso controlling it? These are all sort of questions that can be raised in this piece.
So you want all that to remain open-ended. It's more exciting than we.
Yeah. It will resolve itself in the next fortnight, because we're still playing and experimenting.
Yes. Okay. And that's the fun part about
Of course.
the making of the opera, isn't it? I was thinking about the three da Ponte operas last night. I think that deception is a big theme in all three.
It's a very good point. I hadn't thought of it like that.
Hey.
It's absolutely right. Yeah.
And how is the deception in this one different from the Don Giovanni, which you directed
Yeah. 2 years ago.
2 years ago? Yeah.
Well, this is an obvious disguise, isn't it? In Don Giovanni, again, does Donna Anna know that it's Don Giovanni, even though he's wearing a mask? Does she want to be seduced? And she's engaged to a rather dull chap, Octavio, and but this man who has charisma, he's the sort of man that women look at and think, wow. So it's a choice there. There's always this ambiguity about it, isn't there? I'm not giving you a very good answer.
I think there's a lot more deception going on in Don Giovanni, with Don Giovanni and the sidekick. And,
Oh, Leporello, yes. Yeah.
But in this one, it's just a one big, long, drawn-out deception.
From the moment they decide to,
Yeah.
yes.
So for that, for the longest time, I found it very unbelievable that the girls could be deceived by these two new lovers who weren't wearing masks. Anyway, you know, so I couldn't get over that for a while, for a long while. Maybe I still don't.
Well, you have to try. This time,
That's opera.
let's hope.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question here. Well, you said that this is the 9th time you've directed Cosi.
Yeah.
So, like, when you are repeating productions of the same work, like, are there aspects that that you keep, certain ideas that you keep, and what do you do anew, and what stays?
Often the starting point is the same, because I know things that work and things that don't work. But then in the rehearsal room, things change. I draw on that because, if I give you an example, years ago I was in New Zealand directing a production of Aida with Felicia Weathers, American black soprano, who'd sung it all over the world. And I was very young at the time, and she said, "Tom, give me ideas, give me anything new, help me to find a new way into this opera." And I look for that every time. But I'm always true, I hope, to the spirit of the text and to the music. I work from the music most of all, what the music says to me.
Okay.
There's a topic about opera that is, I always think about is the role of the chorus in operas.
Yes.
Many times they're just commentators, you know,
Yes.
and I tend to switch off once they come on.
But they're on so little in this opera.
Yeah.
There's three basic choruses
Yeah.
that they sing, and they're all in on the plot.
Okay, but can we really do without them?
Oh yeah, I've done Cosi without a chorus. It's quite easy to cut.
Yeah,
In this particular opera.
Yes.
In this particular.
You certainly can't do that in an opera like Don Carlo
No, well,
or Lord Green.
none of
Okay,
those.
but anyway, the music written for them is a bit more substantial,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Than the ones in the bel canto operas, I think.
Yes. Yeah, you can cut, but you still, I mean, thinking of the Barbara Seville, you still need a few chorus at the end of the first act.
Yeah.
And the Serenade, you really need a few. I haven't done that without a chorus. But you can have a small chorus, you can have a quartet.
Yeah.
If the conductor's content with that.
Okay. Of all the three Da Ponte operas, which one do you like the
This
best? This one.
I think it's wonderful.
Yeah. The music.
The music, the plot, I think because I do a lot of Baroque opera, I love the round completeness of the whole thing, the symmetry, I think, of it somehow. And then I think Giovanni, because I've only directed Giovanni twice, and I'd like to do that again. I've done a lot of Figaros, and I
All right.
don't think I want to do that particularly again.
There's too many of them.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that because there's a lot more going on plot-wise in Don Giovanni and the Marriage of Figaro, you can work things around easier. But I think in this particular opera, Cosi, it could be quite static if you really want it to be, because it's just really four main guys, isn't it? So
Yeah, but
don't
I
you think
wouldn't
it's
call
harder
it-
to do?
I wouldn't call it static.
Yeah.
I mean, the second act, even the placing of the arias, that emotionally none of them are static, and the action moves very well, I think, between them.
But what I'm trying to say is, in the other two operas, there are definite things going on, as in the story tells you that this has to happen.
Yeah.
But in Cosi, it's not that specific, is it?
Well, it works towards the climax, the seduction of these two girls, so that Alfonso wins his bet. I mean, the young men don't believe it. I mean, that's was a rebellion against it at times, but I think it's a very thrusting forward moving opera. And that first half finale is superb. It's very funny. And just wonderful ensembles.
Okay, the role of there's something about Despina
Yeah.
that I want to ask. Is the changing of the voice when she was in disguise, is that absolutely necessary?
Well, you're left with very little if you don't change the voice. You're going to have a female voice, very I suppose it's no more recognisable than the men. But I think it's an important part of the characterisation, and in the terms of the commedia dell'arte, which is the two characters of the quack doctor and the lawyer are pure commedia characters, and so I think it's important to have that aspect.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tom, for
It's a pleasure talking
Yes.
to you. Lovely to see you again.
yes,
In a different role these days.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hope
Bye.
to see you.
Oh, I really must say that it is going to be a terrific show, and
Of course.
and a lot of fun. I'm sorry, I'm putting that terribly bad to
Yeah.
say.
Well, we're looking forward to opening night. And,
Yeah.
so have a good show. Have a great show.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.